Have you ever done something so terrible that it haunted you for years? Well, I did. I betrayed my twin brother in the worst way possible, and for the past 10 years, he hasn't spoken to me or anyone in our family. Now I'm left wondering, can we ever fix this? Hey guys, my name is Daniel, and I'm 28 years old. I have a fraternal twin brother named Gavin. You'd think twins are naturally close, right? Like two halves of the same coin? That wasn't us. Sure, we got along like regular siblings growing up, but we never had that inseparable bond you hear about with twins. We were just different. Things started to shift in middle school, around 6th grade. That's when I got into sports and began hanging out with a more outgoing crowd. Gavin stayed close to his childhood friends who were into anime, video games, and board games. Honestly, I thought it was all kinda lame. I wanted to be with the guys who played football, flirted with girls, and went to parties. Gavin, on the other hand, seemed content in his own world, even if it was a much smaller one. By 7th grade, the differences between us became impossible to ignore. I was growing taller, stronger, and more confident. Gavin wasn't. By the time we graduated high school, I was 6 feet 2 inches and 190 pounds of muscle, starting varsity football as a sophomore. Gavin was 5 feet 8 inches and barely 140 pounds. Physically, emotionally, and socially, we were worlds apart. I hate to admit it, but I started seeing him less as my brother and more as the awkward guy I avoided at school. That's when the teasing started. At first, it was just dumb, middle school level pranks, calling him names, messing with his stuff. My friends and I thought it was hilarious, but looking back, I see how cruel it was. Gavin didn't find it funny. He'd get upset, tell our parents, and I'd get grounded. But even that didn't stop me. I was too immature to realize how much I was hurting him. To me, it was just harmless fun. To him, it was relentless bullying. By the time high school rolled around, Gavin and I barely interacted. He kept his distance, and honestly, I didn't mind. I was busy with sports, parties, and my girlfriend. Gavin, he had his small group of friends and kept to himself. But then, senior year, something surprising happened. Gavin got a girlfriend. Her name was Renee. She wasn't someone I'd normally notice, but for Gavin, it was a big deal. He'd never had a girlfriend before, and suddenly he was going to prom with her. At first, I didn't pay much attention, but then prom night came, and I saw her all dressed up. She wasn't exactly a knockout, but she cleaned up better than I expected. That's when my friends planted the seed of an idea that would ruin everything. A week after prom, we were hanging out, drinking, and playing Madden, when one of my friends, Joe, made a comment. "You should totally sleep with Gavin's girlfriend. That would be the ultimate burn." At first, I laughed it off. It sounded ridiculous. But then Joe upped the ante. He bet me $100 that I couldn't pull it off before graduation. That's all it took. I was young, stupid, and fueled by ego. I decided to go for it. I started texting Renee, keeping it light and flirty at first. I knew Gavin wouldn't stand a chance if I turned on the charm. He was her first boyfriend, and I knew how to play the game. It didn't take long for her to open up to me. She admitted that her first few times with Gavin hadn't been great, and I used that to my advantage. I convinced her I was the better twin, the one she deserved. A few days before graduation, I made my move. Gavin was working that night, so I invited Renee out. We ended up in my car at a secluded spot, and, well, I won the bet. I even recorded a short video on Snapchat as proof, something I justified at the time to make sure Joe didn't back out of paying me. Looking back, I can't believe how low I stooped, but it didn't stop there. When I showed the video to my friends, Joe had another idea. Send it to Gavin. I don't know why, but in that moment, it didn't even occur to me how cruel that was. I sent the video, and we all waited laughing to see his reaction, but no reply ever came. The next morning, everything blew up. My mom was furious, saying Gavin had moved out of the house. He told her and my dad that he was done, with me, with them, with everything. He blamed them for not holding me accountable over the years, saying they let me get away with too much. I tried to brush it off at first, but deep down, I knew I'd gone too far. I'd crossed a line I could never uncross. That was 10 years ago. Gavin joined the military and cut all ties with us. My parents and I have tried reaching out over the years, but he refuses to respond. The last we heard, he's living in Washington State. I've told a few people this story, and they all say the same thing. I need to apologize. But how can I when he won't even talk to me? I know I messed up, big time. If you were Gavin, would you ever forgive me? And how can I even start to make things right when he won't give me the chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever had to repair a broken relationship, I'd love to hear your story too. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Reddit stories.